Imagine two neighbors, both retiring this year with exactly $2 million in their accounts. One of them is currently boarding a flight to Tuscany, calm, untouchable, and paying the absolute standard minimum for their Medicare. The other is sitting at a kitchen table at 4 in the morning. Their eyes are red. Why? They are clutching a double-folded piece of paper stuffed in their shirt pocket, frantically adding and subtracting numbers in the dark. They are trying to figure out why their perfectly safe nest egg is quietly bleeding out before they have even spent a single dime on themselves. They both hit the exact same finish line, but only one of them is actually free. If you are the person at the kitchen table, terrified to spend $1 because it feels like you are cannibalizing your own life's work, I need you to hear this. Your anxiety is not your fault. You have not been lazy, and you have not been stupid. You have simply been playing a rigged game with an outdated rulebook. The math you were taught for 40 years is a lie. You were told that if you reached the summit, if you hit that big magic number, you would be safe. But $2 million is not the finish line. It is a financial fault line. The system is not broken. It is functioning exactly as it was designed by macroeconomic planners. Quietly harvest your success. Just as you reach the harvest season, they weaponize behavioral psychology against you. They conditioned you to be the perfect accumulator, to feel a dopamine rush when the balance goes up, and sheer terror at the thought of drawing it down, because as long as you are afraid to touch your money, it stays locked inside their machinery, generating fees for them and future tax revenue for the government. Think of your retirement savings not as a solid mountain of gold, but as a vast, open-air reservoir in the middle of a desert. To you, it looks like absolute security. To the system, it looks like a massive target for evaporation. While you were busy grinding away at your career, the tax code and the healthcare system were busy installing invisible siphons at the very bottom of your reservoir. This is the invisible trap. Your greatest enemy is not a sudden market crash that knocks 30% off your portfolio. The real enemy is the quiet leakage. It is the microscopic siphons of IRMAA surcharges, taxation of your Social Security, and the ticking time bomb of required minimum distributions. At the $2 million mark, you are no longer flying under the radar. You are firmly in the crosshairs. Most people do not realize they are standing on the fault line until they open a statement and see a Medicare bill that has doubled for absolutely no logical reason. Or they realize that by crossing a single arbitrary income threshold by just $1, the system automatically claws back $15,000 in subsidies. It is a systemic one-way street specifically designed to penalize the exact discipline that got you here. You were trained to be a saver. The modern financial system only rewards the strategist. The saver looks at a massive account balance and feels rich on paper. The strategist knows that the balance is a complete illusion. Only the structure is real. If you stay trapped in the old mindset, you will spend your remaining golden years as a servant to your own spreadsheet, terrified of the very wealth you sacrificed decades to build. To escape this matrix, why? We have to stop counting your money and start rebuilding your architecture. We must restructure your retirement into 3 distinct tiers of visibility. Tier 1 is tax-deferred control. Goal here is to defuse the forced income bomb. If you leave $2 million in a traditional IRA, government will eventually force you to take out $80,000 a year, whether you actually need the money or not. That forced income stacks violently on top of your Social Security, pushing you into higher tax brackets that you never agreed to pay. Tier 2 is liquidity control. We call this the Roth Shield. This is your escape hatch. By strategically moving money into a Roth IRA during the low-income window, before your Social Security kicks in, you make that capital completely invisible to the penalty systems. Roth money does not trigger Medicare surcharges. It does not make your Social Security taxable. It is the only legal way to drop $50,000 on a new car or a dream vacation without the IRS ever noticing you did it. Tier 3 is stealth income. This is about owning assets that grow your wealth without leaving a tax footprint on your 1040. This is where we use highly efficient structures to generate cash flow that the system simply cannot see. Structure beats balance every single time. You can have $2 million and be stressed, paranoid, and financially blood dry. Or you can have $2 million and be completely untouchable. The difference is never the math. It is the architecture. But here is the mirror you have been avoiding for years. Think back to all those Sunday nights when you sat at your desk, sacrificing your family time, your health, and your peace of mind for a corporate machine that would replace you by Tuesday. You spent 4 decades wrapped in a working identity, convinced that your worth as a human being was directly tied to the size of the harvest you could pile up. You told yourself, just 1 more year, and then I will finally relax. Maybe you remember that sickening drop in your stomach during the last major market crash. You watched 20% of your life's work evaporate in a single month. The financial media screamed panic, and you did exactly what you were engineered to do. You sold at the bottom to stop the bleeding, only to sit on the sidelines and watch the market soar back without you. Or maybe your trap was quieter. You got the promotion, you bought the nicer house, but somehow the money always vanished, just as fast as it came in. You ran faster and faster on a treadmill that someone else controlled. And yet, here you are today, sitting on a mountain of money, but you are still terrified to buy a set of 4 new tires for your car without feeling a sharp pang of guilt. You feel like you are destroying your own safety net every time you look at a vacation brochure or a restaurant menu. I need you to drop that baggage right now. You are not financially incompetent, and you have not failed. You are feeling this way because you were never given the actual rules to the game. They taught you how to accumulate. They taught you to be a good, obedient soldier in the workforce, but they never handed you the manual on how to actually live once the uniform comes off. Today, I am handing you that permission slip. You have permission to stop being a prisoner to your own discipline. You have permission to stop being a mindless accumulator and finally become a person who lives. The guilt you feel when you spend your own money is not a sign of wisdom. Why? It is a ghost of a mindset that served you at 30 but is actively destroying you at 65. Real security does not come from having the most zeros on a banking app. It comes from having the absolute power to dictate your own timeline. It is the freedom to wake up on a Tuesday morning, look out the window, and know that you are completely untouchable by the IRS, by healthcare penalties, and by Wall Street's hidden fees. You do not need a get-rich-quick scheme, and you do not need to grind until you drop dead. You just need to change your architecture. Tonight, I want you to take one concrete step toward reality. Log into your accounts and look past the total balance to see the actual structure. Ask yourself, I needed $50,000 tomorrow to handle an emergency or take the trip of a lifetime. How much of that money would I actually get to keep after the invisible siphons take their cut? The answer makes you angry. Use that anger. Use it to stop being a victim of the invisible trap and start becoming the architect of your own exit. I do not make these videos for the Wall Street elite. I do not make them for people looking to hustle their way into an early grave. I make these videos for the exhausted accumulators. I make them for the people who have done everything right, who played by the rules, and who absolutely refuse to let a rigged game bleed them dry in the final quarter. Why? If you are ready to stop guessing and start controlling your exit, hit the subscribe button. Join a community of people who are permanently opting out of the matrix of perpetual accumulation. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is the very first thing you will do when you finally realize you have enough? I read every single one. Stop surviving. Start exiting.